Hello everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So many of you, thanks. We are going to be talking about Gundi. This is a free and open source platform. It's developed by WCS, Wildlife Conservation Society, EarthRanger, and also WPS, Wildlife Protection Solutions, in a wonderful collaboration. This is helping practitioners get more time in spending their efforts on actually protecting nature instead of worrying about the interoperability of the different devices and technologies that they are using. And also it's helping developers get more time in really focusing on innovation instead of all the different integrations that they might be asked to support. So we believe in simplifying things and giving time so that every group is focusing on what they do best instead of worrying on these little details. So I'm Victor Luján. I'm from Mexico. My English might not be the best. And also I don't have that much experience with microphones. So if I say something silly, let's see. This is the agenda for today. We're going to be walking you through the essence of Gundi, what it is, the current adoption, the mechanics of its operations, and also our plans for the future. To really understand what we're doing, I think it's a good thing to start with our vision. We believe that all conservation areas should have optimum access to data to inform their decision-making and action. So it's important to know that. And let's take a look at how the world is without Gundi. And actually, can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, okay. So let's consider all of the technology that exists today. So there are telemetry devices and vehicle trackers that are helping track wildlife and also vehicles. We have camera traps and acoustic arrays that help monitor wildlife and also identify the presence of poachers. There's also radios, phones, and other devices that help ensure the safety of the rangers and also organize, the different teams. One of the challenges, as you may know, even better than myself, is that most of these devices were designed and produced independently, and so not really thinking about how they will integrate together. So that's one of the problems that conservation organizations are facing or face, and that doesn't really, that doesn't give the organizations the time to do what they like, the type of tasks that they want to focus on. In this picture, what we're trying to symbolize are, with the different lines, all of the connections between the hardware at the, left, and then the different conservation software at the right. And so all of these bubbles, this could be the vehicle tracker, maybe different brands of wildlife tags. And you can see here how many, each of these lines will be an integration that needs to be developed and also maintained and monitored independently. Sometimes, even for an existing connection, the technology manufacturer will upgrade their version, and that breaks the integration. So even after developing the integration, there's still work to be done to ensure that everything is working. And this can be a real headache for the organizations that want to focus on other things. Let me see. So now, this is where Gundi has its value. So Gundi is taking care of all of that complexity and busy work so that you don't have to. And you can think of it as a universal adapter between any hardware and that data services and the different conservation software, such as Smart, EarthRanger, WPS, and many others. And And for conservationists, Gundi is opening a world of plug and play. Once Gundi has an existing integration with the technology, like once we do the work to integrate Gundi with a certain brand or technology, for a certain group, it also becomes immediately available for all other organizations. So that's avoiding the whole problem of duplicating the effort that in previously, if a ranger, for example, will work on integrating, like say, Garmin InReach devices, and Smart Connect want to do the same, they will be working on the same type of work, different code, but if you take a look at the bigger picture, there's a lot of wasted time when you look at what everyone is trying to do. And Gundi, as an integration platform, it's taking care of authentication, data queries, error handling, data transformations, and system monitoring. That's a lot. And we decided to build it as a cloud service or cloud-based service. So that means there is no installation. You don't need to be worrying about infrastructure or upgrading things or hosting. This platform is already fully productional. It is processing up to 1.1 million observations per day for hundreds of sites or destination sites. And everything we are doing is free completely. We don't charge for the use of the product. We don't charge for the training. We don't charge for support. We have a team of support that can help you configure the different integrations that you might need. So let's see. And these are the different groups that Gundi can help with. So we have, for example, the sensors and AI developers. If we focus on them, what Gundi can do for them is that you only have one integration to work with, and we give you access to all of the other endpoints like Smart Connect, EarthRanger, and WPS. So it's much easier for them to have just one integration and extend your users or your reach to multiple applications. The other group will be the application developers. Think about the developers building Smart Connect or EarthRanger or WPS Watch. Now they can only integrate, if they integrate with Gundi, then automatically they can get access to hundreds of devices. So they can then focus more on their time on building the features that the users really need and what they want to focus on, and not so much on working with the different manufacturers. And finally, this is ultimately all in the service of the practitioners. Whether you are a protected area manager or wildlife researcher, your time is often, or your projects are often limited in budget and time. So Gundi is allowing you to take advantage of all of the technology that exists out there, and just continue to take advantage of the evolving technologies. So far, these are some of the manufacturers we have integrated so far. You can see it ranges from animal tracking, camera traps, IoT, radios, vehicle and asset trackers. And we have also integrated with close to a dozen data services and conservation platforms that we can send to data to. If you are using EarthRanger or MoveBank or Smart Connect or WPS Watch, we can send that data to these destinations, and there will be many more to come. One of the questions we typically get while explaining all of this is whether we can support additional technologies that you are using that is not listed here. And yes, there are very good chances that we can. My suggestion there will be you can go to this website, projectgundi.org. You're going to find there the current list of supported technologies. And if you don't find your technology listed there, then please contact us through this website. You can scan that QR code, and there is an email address which is support@projectgundi.org, and we do the work of analyzing what it will mean to integrate with those technologies. Sometimes you may have a point of contact with the manufacturers or the conservation software that can collaborate with us for a faster implementation. So that is usually very helpful. And I think one important thing to say is as you can imagine, there are many technologies out there. And so we prioritize based on conservation impact and like number of organizations that could be benefited from that. The dream is, of course, to integrate with all of the hardware. But since we have a limited team, we just focus on what is going to give most impact with the time spent, in the following months. I think one way to measure success or whether Gundi is doing what it was built for is to focus on stories, like stories we find through helping the different organizations. And I want to share one from Olpijira Conservancy. I hope that's the right pronunciation. I struggle with Olpijira. It's the largest black rhino sanctuary in East Africa, and it provides home to the last two northern white rhinos in the world. And they are working on managing their water, which is a scarce resource, and due to the ever-growing impact of global warming. And they have solar-powered pumping systems. And what Gundi is doing behind the curtains is processing the raw data from those water sensors. And we are reading the data and transforming that into alerts that then we send to the, in this case, EarthRanger. It could be Smart Connect. And that helps the Conservancy to prepare for the varying water demands depending on the weather forecast. So all of those, and also, let's see, it's also helping them save money. Elsa, if you want to take over.
All right, thank you so much. Is the audio okay? All right, I'm Elsa. I'm a front-end developer for the Gundi portal, and now I'll be sharing with you a demo on what you as users will be seeing and doing within the Gundi portal to manage your connections and things like that as you get started with Gundi. And I put this quote on the slide just because I think it's a good frame of mind when you're thinking about how Gundi can help you and why it's important in the conservation world. And I'll also point out that I only included the EarthRanger and Smart Connect logos as the destinations on the infographic, but Gundi is definitely not fixed to those two destinations. So here we have a screenshot of the portal, of the Gundi portal's landing page. As you can see, it's a pretty simple layout, and we really want to prioritize ease of finding relevant information and ease of navigating as you're trying to work within the Gundi portal. You've got a main table view in the center, and then on the left-hand panel, a searching and filtering tool there, and just logging in and out in the upper right-hand corner. So it's pretty simple. Before we get too far into the demo, I'll explain a couple key terms that you'll see a lot when you're using the Gundi portal. So overall, you've got your connections, and that is the complete flow of data from the origin to your destination site. And So you've got your providers, your technology types. These will be like you saw on the slide with all the list of devices and stuff like that. For example, InReach, a water meter like they have at Olpagetta, things like that. And those will be delivering data to your destinations, which is, again, like your EarthRanger site, Smart Connect, MoveBank. You've got the whole list on the slide that Victor just showed. And then within the provider, you've got your sources, which is the individual device. So in the example of InReach, it will be the physical radio itself rather than the technology type. To get set up in the Gundi portal, right now you will be reaching out to the Gundi support team at this email address up here on the slide, and we will be helping you get started with creating your account, making sure your organization is connected successfully, and you as an admin or reviewer have the correct login credentials. Once you're all set up, you are ready to configure your connections. And I've got some screen recordings just to show the flow of how to get those set up. I'll make this full screen. Let it load a little bit. There we go. So you can see on the portal, we have navigated over to the destinations page. This is mock data, but you've got a list of all of the destinations that you own as your organization, searching and filtering on the left-hand side. And we are now ready to click the Create button and follow the setup flow. First, you'll select the destination type. For the sake of this example, let's do WPS Watch. And you'll then be taken to a form where you'll enter a name, whatever you want it to be, whatever makes sense to you. And then you will select your organization. Again, this is all mock data, so that's why you see a super long list here. And then the endpoint. This would be, for example, your EarthRanger site endpoint, things like that. And then all you have to enter after that is just the necessary authentication data to allow the connection to push data to your destination. And you're ready to click Add. After that, you'll see the details pop up, and you'll notice all of the information we just added has been saved. And now we are ready to finish creating the setup of the full connection. If I can exit full screen. Okay. All right. So now we can configure the full connection itself. Back to full screen. No problem. Okay. So from the Connections tab, you click the Create button, and you'll select your provider. This example, I did a series tag provider. And then you'll enter in the necessary credentials, authentication information. We'll select the organization. You can name it whatever you want, whatever makes sense to you. I called this one Demo Connection ERUC. And it's worth noting that depending on the provider, you might have different configuration fields that you have to fill out, but it will be presented to you in a form just like this. And then now that we've done that, the provider has been configured, and we are ready to associate it with the destination that we just made. So I searched for the name, demo. The one that I just made popped up. I believe it was called Demo Destination right there. We can select it, and it is now associated with the provider that I just did. And now we are taken to the connection details page, where I can see the name I selected, our organization. The API key is hidden for privacy reasons. Over on the Sources tab of the portal, you've got a list of all of the devices that you've got flowing through your Gundi connections. If you want to confirm one is connected successfully, you can sort columns on the top of the tables, or filter based on all of these categories on the left-hand side. I included this here because this searching and filtering functionality is present in all of the list views throughout the portal, just to, again, make things easy to find, quick to find, so you don't have to be stressed about where to find what you're looking for in the moment, because that can be pretty frustrating. You can also use the free text field to type in a specific name itself. Let's say you created a connection, but some of your credentials changed, or you named something incorrectly. You can make edits to your connection. Oh my goodness, play. Just by selecting the connection you just made, and then toggling to the page you want to be at in the connection. Make the changes, and then click Save. If we refresh, we can see that the changes we made persisted, and we should be good to go. All right, those were all of the screen recordings I had for the Gundi portal, but some features coming up. For the Gundi portal, we'll be making it completely self-service. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the demo, you do need to contact our support team to get started initially, but eventually it will be a completely self-service process to get started. We will also be introducing some enhanced troubleshooting features in case a connection is not flowing as you are expecting it to. You'll be able to monitor the health of your connections from within the portal and get a little bit more information about what's going on and how to deal with it. And then the last thing we're looking forward to adding is the ability to test connections on demand. So you'll just be able to configure your destination like we did in the video, configure your provider like so, and there'll be a button that you can ping the provider, ping the destination, and make sure, yes, I did this correctly. And as I continue moving on with the connection process, it'll work as I expect it to. And now I will pass the mic over to Chris.
Thanks, Elsa, and thanks, Victor. I'm Chris Doring. I've been with the EarthRanger program since the beginning, and as they've mentioned this morning, a couple of years ago, in partnership with WCS and WPS, we launched the Gundi project. And I want to, by a show of hands, I'm interested to know who in the room has ever configured a device configuration for InReach or a call or data or something like that through EarthRanger. Has anyone done that? I know some say, okay, so some of you have. Now, I'm super excited about what Elsa showed you, and I hope you are too. And I think we've given you a glimpse of what you'll see in the coming year, and again, we're still working on this and enhancing it. We're sort of flying the plane now while we're still putting on the wings. But I hope you can see how helpful this, or we intend for this to be for you, to make these forms dynamic and to help guide you so you can quickly configure devices and then get back to the actual work you want to get going on. But what I wanted to do is kind of just click one level deeper into what we're doing to build Gundi, and I lost the little thing. There we go. Okay. Some of this is a bit redundant, but what I'm going to talk about a little bit is like how we're going about building the system quickly, and just to kind of give you an idea of what our team is about and what's at your disposal as you make requests for new integrations. And so what I've depicted here, and I lost my speaker notes. Do we have speaker notes? I'll wing it. I'll go quickly. Some of this might be boring, but I hope you'll get an idea of what we're up to. But so we've talked a little bit about how we have all these data sources, from animal collars to radios to vehicles and satellite sensors and things like that. They're all feeding data that you want to see in one place, and you want to be able to see it on one map or in one spreadsheet or analyze it in one system. Up until now, most of that has gone. Much of that has gone either directly into EarthRanger or directly into Smart or into another conservation platform you're using. But of course, as we mentioned today, one of the key tenets of Gundi is that we want to be the glue that takes the data that you own somewhere in the world and gets it into the conservation platform of your choice. And even if you're using 2 or 3 different platforms to do your visualizations or analysis, we can get that in there for you. And so essentially, if you take all the things we've done inside of EarthRanger to gather all the data for your collars and radios and so forth, we've extracted a lot of that functionality and put it into Gundi. So we can take the data from all these different data sources and put it into EarthRanger, and then also into Smart, and also into WPS Watch. I've only depicted the 3 of those here, but obviously our intent is to be able to provide these kinds of functionalities into all the different platforms you're using. One of the big questions I hear at this conference and in chatting with all of you is who's going to use Gundi? As you saw, Elsa was depicting the examples of the screens that folks will use to configure new connections and provide routing rules. And so that really kind of represents the user interface. For the folks who want to write software, if you're interested in writing software to push data into Gundi to provide that to route that into your conservation platform, we also have APIs. So for those of you who are writing any code and want to be able to push your own observation data in, we do offer APIs. The process for getting connected to Gundi through the API system is similar to what Elsa showed you. You'll set up a connection with a data source, and you'll wind up getting what we call an API key, and you'll use that to push data in. For anyone who's interested in learning more about that, we have a limited set of documentation to help guide you on that path. And then we also have engineers here available to talk about the details of that and the nuances. So in terms of the configurations, Elsa showed you the user interface where you're selecting the type of integration you want to connect through Gundi. Underpinning that is a lot of software and both the software and the practices that my team uses to facilitate creating these connections for this wide variety of devices and data sources that you all come up with. So what I wanted to depict here was that when if you click into our system, I use that to say, kind of peek in under the covers of Gundi. What you'll see is not one big massive box of software that's just running and taking data in and spewing data out. But when we want to, in this case, connect a conservation platform so that Gundi can feed data into it, we have, and this is maybe a little specific to software development, but we have this practice where we have separate components for each of the conservation platforms. And so we've integrated with these 3 conservation platforms. But what I've depicted here is a certain module, so to speak, for sending and receiving data to and from EarthRanger, and the same for Smart, and the same for WPS Watch. The reason this is important is that as the system evolves and as the ecosystem of all the different platforms evolves, doing things this way allows us to more easily and quickly add and enhance the integration with the conservation platform that you've brought to bear. And we've also done that on the data source side. Oftentimes we think about just data coming into the system and going out of the system coming into the system from a collar data source or radios. and then going out to a conservation platform like Smart or EarthRanger. But what we've done here is we've introduced this notion of, you might call them plugins, to allow us to connect easily to Savannah tracking collars, or to Garmin InReach radios or other things. And the way we build this is we compartmentalize those pieces of the system so that we can do all that busy work. I think Elsa and Victor have used that word, just the busy work and the very specific details of integrating with a platform. Those kind of go in these colored boxes here. And as time goes on, we can add more and more of those plug-in boxes and keep those focused on solving that one little problem. I'd be willing to bet that many of you or some of your colleagues have probably written code to a certain degree to solve some of these problems, and you understand just how messy that can get and how time-consuming it is. So here we're depicting the notion that we can do that busy work for you, let you get back to the work you'd like to do, and we can do it in a way that makes it accessible to the wider community as well. And as I mentioned, I guess I was just describing this, but naturally, as the ecosystem evolves and as your needs evolve, we can add these modules easily. So here I've just imagined we've added MoveBank, which we did. We added MoveBank as a data destination. So for instance, again, back to what Elsa was describing in that user interface, it might have slipped by you, but when she was hooking up some radio, like a radio data source or a collar data source, and she configured it in Gundi, you saw where she was able to say, please send these collar data to this destination EarthRanger site. But one key aspect of Gundi is that if you would like to see that data go also to MoveBank or to Smart, that's where Gundi shines. You can take that same connection you have configured now and say, in addition to my EarthRanger site, please send it to my MoveBank study and to WPS Watch for image analysis and also to MoveBank. So I'm really excited about that and that particular feature of Gundi. And one last thing, and I'll stop talking about the software piece because it naturally, that's the stuff that I'm super interested in, but you should never have to think about it again. I wanted to express that Gundi is a software platform and an ecosystem of services, but as much as it is software, it's also a team. And it's supported by WCS. So we have partners here. We have Jonathan and Lee Ling visiting us here in the front row. The EarthRanger team, Elsa, Victor. We have 2 Victors in the room, and we have some engineers back home who weren't able to join us here at the conference. And we also have help from Elsa's company, Wildlife Protection Solutions, and Eric's in the back too. And then just a quick reflection too on what I love about presenting to you today. I know a lot of this stuff is software that you're going to look at once a month or once every 3 months or never because it's providing a lot of the plumbing. But what I wanted to reflect on today was the wonderful aspect of the EarthRanger User Conference, where we get to talk to you as engineers and you also get to pepper us with questions. You're not having to talk to the salespeople. You get to talk to us engineers. So we're really looking forward to your questions. For instance, Elsa was probably writing some of that code yesterday. And Victor Garcia down here was probably writing some of that code 3 days ago that's underpinning Gundi. So I just wanted to express how thankful I am to be able to chat directly with the folks who are going to benefit from our software. And I'll hand it back over to Victor Lujan for the road ahead.
Thank you, Chris. Right, so Elsa already mentioned some of the features we want to add to the portal. The portal is always like a living platform. It will never be complete. We have lots of brilliant ideas, either by talking with the different communities like conservation or technology communities. Also, our own team is always, looking for ways to deliver faster, deliver easier, integrate more technologies. So when we think about, or when I think about Gundi, it is different components. One of those will be the portal, and Elsa already provided some of the features to come. There is also a platform with backend services and different capabilities that we want to integrate, or sorry, build into it. So here's a timeline. And first thing to see is that now we have a live feed in MoveBank. Some of you might be very familiar with this online platform. Lots of researchers are using MoveBank to analyze movement data and other animal-borne sensor data. Coming soon, we'll have an integration with TrapTagger, which is camera trap serving software that is using AI to identify the species that are in a picture, in a photo. This TrapTagger is developed by our friends from WildEye, and we're going to have an integration with Kenwood radios very soon. For anyone out there using these radios, if you want to see the rangers using them in a map, whether it could be for patrols or just ensuring their safety, it will be available very soon. Then for additional capabilities, so far Gundi has been mostly a streaming platform where we receive some data from the sensors, from the hardware, and we just push it to the destination. But now something that we want to support is the ability to know when we have already pushed some data to the destination and it just needs a minor update. So it could be just updating a location, or for example, recently we added the ability to add a photo to a report. And so since we already are able to do that, we also want to be able to update other things other than add attachments to it. Lots of you are using Smart. Lots of you are using EarthRanger. And so we want to continue to invest in integrating these two platforms. We have already done quite a bit of work in helping you use these two platforms and have this integration going. But there's still more to do so that we have a richer integrations, especially because these two platforms are evolving, and we want to make sure that we're using what these two teams are developing in the benefit of practitioners. MQTT is a network protocol that is now being used a lot for devices that have limited resources or have low internet connections, slow connections. And so we think that we're going to see more and more devices using this protocol. Right now, we're not able to integrate with any of those devices, and we think it's strategic to spend some time, invest some time to have that ability to connect with them. And finally, something we're calling the transformation engine. And this is the ability to avoid spending so much time on developing the different rules to transform data. We want the ability to make that more configurable, more user-friendly, even for our own development team, but also for our users. So this is going to be huge, and hopefully we will present that in the next user conference. This is our team. We want to thank each of them. We have 8 in the development team and 4 roles as support leaders, support roles. They are all here. I think maybe we're missing Jess. And some of the developers who stayed in Guadalajara or Argentina. But anyways, one important thing to mention is that, as you can see, we have representation from each member of the Gundi partnership, WCS, EarthRanger, and WPS. And if you were to attend one of our meetings, you wouldn't even know that we work for different organizations. We work together, and we think that this collaboration, we have this common goal of helping protect nature. So this, we believe that we can accomplish so much more working together. How are we with time? Okay. So I have some screenshots to show, but I'm more interested in the questions and answers, questions that you may have. So yeah, do you have any questions for us? Courtney.
Thank you. I'm very, very happy and excited to use Gundi more. I had one sort of user-based question. I don't know if this is already possible. Let's say I've got my data coming in to Gundi and I decide where I want it to go. Can I also send that data to another user and they can decide where they want to send it? So a research partner or a deployment partner, instead of me sending it to their destination sites, can I just send it to another user and then they can decide where they want to send it to their different destinations?
Yeah, I can think of a couple of ways to do that. The way in which we manage connections is we assign each of the users to a specific organization. And then if you are part of that organization, you can see all of those connections. One way of doing that will be to have an organization that includes those two users, and then both of them will be able to configure. We also have different roles. So if they are admins, they can edit. If they are only viewers, they can only view. So maybe having an organization that includes the two users. But I wonder, Chris, do you have any other ideas?
Thanks for the question, Courtney. I think this is one of those places where we need to find out exactly what you need, and in a sense, that's what we're here for, to figure out exactly how you would like that to look. One of the key things. But as Victor was saying, for your case, if you wanted to send data to your colleague's destination in addition to yours, if they have a platform that's supported, that's really easy to do. You can do that by permissioning in, say, EarthRanger or Smart as a destination. We also have a limited capability in Gundi to share some of the configurations, in a sense. If one thing that's probably not super clear now, but will be soon for anyone who uses Gundi, is that you will log in and have your organization in Gundi, and you will create these connections and data sources and things, and you'll kind of own those as your user. But somebody else might have their own organization and they'll own their own connections, but ultimately you'll be able to guide your data to their destination and vice versa, which I hope will be something that's useful to the community roughly for the purpose you're talking about. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Wonderful. And we'll obviously be in touch, as we have been up till now, and gathering more requirements, because that's a great example of That's right. Yeah, actually, we have so many connections that I actually am not intimately familiar with the iNaturalist one, so let's follow up in greater detail after this. But effectively, we're pushing data into iNaturalist, and we're also pulling data from iNaturalist from EarthRanger into EarthRanger. So when I depicted that star with the little plug-in diagrams, and one of those little colored boxes would be a little module that knows how to talk to iNaturalist, given the right configuration, and then to pull data from there and send it off to EarthRanger. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The destination of the data you guys have set up, obviously like EarthRanger and MoveBank and whatever, can that? What happens if I want to get data from a source and do something with it and then send it to EarthRanger, like add a risk tag to data that doesn't come originally from the source? Can I do that within Gundi, like loop within Gundi, or can I send it to my own database, add the tag, and then send it back to Gundi?
Yes, you can do some of that now within Gundi. The what you described in your first example was where those things could be sort of running within the Gundi platform. That's one of my fantasies. We don't do that yet, but that's one thing we aspire to do. Not yet on our roadmap for the coming year, but that's something we hope to do someday. Yeah. Jonathan. Oh.
Yeah, that's a bit of a leather question, but Chris, you spent 5-6 years working on all these integrations for EarthRanger. Now suddenly you spent 4 or 5 years, or 3 or 4 years doing it for Gundi. What did it mean to you to be taking some technology that you've created just for one application and then democratizing it, making sure those integrations were available to anybody and everybody who wants to integrate data?
Well, I think you just answered my question for me, but thanks, Jonathan. That's a really good one. It's heartwarming, all those other words that you might come to mind. I'm an engineer, so I'm not going to be essentially doing this once for everyone. So all those things we learned doing it for EarthRanger, we're applying now. We're making it much, much better. You've seen the user interface already, and that's going to evolve and be really, really useful. These transformation rules and the rules engines and the routing things that we're talking about, and hooking in external analyzers I think are going to be hugely beneficial in the near future. And again, we're as much as we are software, we're also a team here at your disposal to glue things together, as Gundi is, as the name implies. We're here to glue things together for you. Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Hi, guys. So I'm from Africa Wildlife Tracking. So obviously we produce quite a bit of data. Quite like the idea. I think it's very cool. So from my side, I'd like to know a bit more about the API, and particularly, most of the users don't really want to manage. That's how much that's been scoped out yet from your side, and what the sort of API roadmap looks like.
That's a great question. I'm really glad you're here. We've worked with AWT forever, probably since 2015, and we've adapted our integration with AWT into Gundi. And today we're pulling data from you. If you're interested in pushing data to us through our API, that's wonderful. Obviously makes it easier for us, and then it gives you the control and the flexibility of the data coming into the system. So we should meet and talk about the very specific
definitely.
deals around that.
I like the idea of running a service and sort of getting the data in there as quick as possible rather than having to manually pull our API for the same data. You could just do it as it comes in. It'd be a lot more efficient.
Right, and you being intimately familiar with AWT's stack and ours, and you know that it's as you're describing, it would be much more efficient if you know data's ready. You can push it to us rather than us constantly pulling you. So that would be terrific to talk more about that and scope that out. Thank you. Oh, one more over here.
Yeah, hi guys. I'm from Smart Parks.
Of
Also having a lot of developed devices in the field all over Africa, but also in Europe and Asia. And we are doing all these plumbing. And then to the destination, but also go back. For example, currently we have to, let's say, use the API of EarthRanger in a strange way to, for example, send something to a ranger tracker, to change something on the ranger tracker without people going to a separate platform where they do device management, like changing settings. So are you envisioning also, let's say, going from the destination back to the platform where the data is coming from to do maybe some device management? Is that part of the vision, or will it be a one-way traffic? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Nice to see you again. That's exactly what we envision these plugins being. And in technical terms, I often accidentally refer to these as device drivers because we don't want it to be a simple pull from AWT or a pull from other data sources, but we want to be able to have basically, we call them actions, things you can do against your system or Savannah tracking or AWT to say, alter the GPS interval for this caller to 5 minutes, and we can maybe do that manually someday soon in the future, perhaps automatically based on geofence breaks. Those things are super exciting to me, and so if I could snap my fingers, they would all be done. But they're going to take some time. But it would be wonderful to talk to both of you and Henrik and others too about like what that looks like to you too, because we in my again, back to my diagram with those little boxes, those colored boxes that say Savannah tracking or Smart Parks or AWT on them, that's where that stuff's going to go. We're going to work on the interface on our side to make those things work inside of Gundi for these purposes, and then naturally it's gonna be important to get it just right for you if you're providing an API for those sorts of things, or if you're interacting with our API. That'll be really exciting. But exactly what you described is what I hope to achieve sometime in the future.
Cool. We're ready for it.
Excellent.
Sorry.
Good morning. My name is Hisham Duridi. I am from FAO, and I am working on desert locust control. So we are using as a new tool in the survey of these plagues, especially in Western Africa, Middle East, and Southwest Asia, some drones, fixed-wing drones that have a satellite component. The satellite component use iridium satellite. So I don't know if you can retrieve the information from the iridium satellites to Gundi, or is it possible if the iridium information can be integrated in Gundi?
Yeah, just like at that time check.
Oh yeah, we just have. Okay. Yeah, just I guess watch your watch if you have to jump out to the next session. But thanks for that question. Now, it's interesting. Like when we talk about all the different integrations we have, they're with providers of devices or data sources. To the Iridium network and you have ownership of that data and the relationship with Iridium, then we, again, our team can do some of the busy work to figure out exactly what it takes to get that data from the Iridium network and the ground stations that they provide. So, again, this would be a great thing to follow up on and start to peel back the onion layers of that. Thank you.
Cassandra from Elephants Live. I was just wondering, we're also trying to create some layers that automatically update, and that is based on layers from Google Earth Engine. I don't know if it's going to be possible to automatically, if you've created the layer and just automatically set up the process, that it just sends it immediately through Gundi and just does the analysis for you, basically, afterwards when you pull that data.
Oh, great question. So you're thinking of EarthRanger with a map layer that would update regularly with the changing data underneath it? That's a terrific question. I've often wondered like how useful that would be to this community, and it seems like a natural fit. It's we don't do any map layering through Gundi yet. It's obviously if there's some plumbing work to be done for providing that kind of service, then Gundi is well suited to do that. Another great follow-up, and I'd like to follow I always think of something like Global Forest Watch or the fires layers and things like that would be, in my naive opinion, I think would be really, really useful for you. So let's follow up, and perhaps we can even meet with Joshua and the others on the core team to talk more about the details of that.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds great. Thank you.
Great question. And I'm here for another few minutes if you want to help me sign up the rest of the team to do all this work. Oh, hi, Li Ling.
Hi, I just want to ask a couple questions first. Thank you so much for this excellent presentation. The slide that Victor showed just showed such an impressive number of supported technologies, a lot of physical sensors. I think, as you guys know, in the smart community, we've been really excited about how Gundi is enabling access to, alerts from Global Forest Watch into smart. I just wanted you to speak a little bit about how Gundi is enabling access to data from virtual sensors.
Yeah, I guess you mean helping connect with hardware, but also with data services. And so this doesn't need to be the specific hardware, but rather connecting to a service that can detect through AI or through just photos and algorithms. If something appears to be wrong, something that needs alerting to, the user of that service. So we have a few of those. I mentioned Skylight and Global Forest Watch. We also have integrations with Aurora Tech for fire alerts. And there are some very good screenshots that I wanted to share. Maybe I can do that if you reach out to us afterwards. But yeah, we call those virtual sensors. And we have a bunch of those. So we do support that type of integration. So I think that's going to be it due to the time. But please reach out to us. You're seeing here our website and also email. You can always reach out, and we will, give you all the information, including if you are interested on API. We have examples of how to send us that data, and we can create connections for you. And so let's get in touch for sure. Thank you.